Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to the predictions and breakdowns. We are finally back in Las Vegas with a normal start time. We have UFC Fight Night, Gamrot versus Salkilld starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on August the 8th. And we're going to be taking a look at the entire card, starting with the early prelims and ending with the main event, giving some solid betting advice, giving some solid pick options, and giving you the ability to take over the rankings on Tapology if that's what you would like to do. Let's go to the top 100s where we sit with some solid, perfect picks in the last couple weeks. We are sitting at around 75% picks, and we're going to try and continue the streak. I almost got a complete UFC Ruby last week. The only one we lost on, if I can just double check this real quick before we start, was Milos Janic against Noah Gugnon, or Gugnon, whatever the hell his name is. I don't really care. Anyway, that was the only one we were missing last week. We had a 90% pick option. Fantastic. We'll start off with the early prelim opener. That is Gigi Canuto versus Carol Foro, and we will end with that main event. We're going to start off with picking Carol Foro. I think she's just going to be a little bit more aggressive. She had a really solid fight against Chanel Dyer on the Contender Series, which got her into the UFC. Both of those girls did end did actually end up getting signed, and Chanel Dyer ended up knocking out Ravina Oliveira in the second round with some nasty knees to the body and to the head, and had Ravina Oliveira literally asking for the ref to stop the fight against the cage. Gigi Canuto, or Canuto, whatever the hell her name is, she's going to get her ass beat. She's been on some LFA cards. She doesn't look too terrible, but she is fighting super low-level competition. I don't think she's ever fought a girl with a lot of ferocity like Carol. And I think she's just going to get pieced up on the inside, probably get knocked out, seeing as Chanel Dyer was very close to eating the dirt on that one. She was extremely hurt in the first round, and Carol Foro actually just took over the fight as a bit of an underdog there and just kind of beat the hell out of her. So I think I'm just going to go with the fact that I've seen Foro be a little bit more ferocious. She's got the ability, and I think knockout/decision on the prop line is where you're sitting. Probably sitting around a -280 on Bet365. Not a solid option, or excuse me, not a bad option to add to some parlays a little bit early if you want to get some plus money early, but I wouldn't add it to too many, seeing as it can go any way possible. And this girl is lacking 2.5 inches of reach, but she does just get into the mix, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not too worried about the 2 inches, whatever. We're not really popping jabs out here. We're more or less just running into each other. Next on the prelims, this is actually not a bad one. I know we got 2 women's fights in a row, but don't sleep on these. Juliana Miller versus Ravina Oliveira. We're going to go with Juliana Miller to get it done, probably inside distance. I think Ravina Oliveira is just a little bit too timid for the UFC. She doesn't really go into the fire all that well. She does get clipped pretty often. She does try to take girls down in bad situations as well. And Juliana Miller in her last fight actually showed a little bit more complexity in her game. She fought Carly Judice and was actually able to perform in the stand-up, shuck off some takedowns, do some work of her own against the cage. She did beat Ivana Petrovic, which actually isn't a bad win on the record. Luana Santos did knock her out, but we took some time after that loss. We got right in the head, and now we have Ravina Oliveira, who's just an absolute buns fighter. Juliana Miller is still fighting at flyweight. Ravina Oliveira making the trek up to 125, seeing as she missed weight last time against Chanel Dyer. I do think it's not going to matter. I think Juliana Miller should just easily take this over. I think it's going to be a knockout/decision win. I don't think submission's really in the game of Juliana Miller, but I would not be surprised. I mean, yeah, she has a Kimura, I guess, against Caitlin Neal, but, Caitlin Neal's just absolutely terrible. She's got an armbar against an absolute trash fighter in Kendall Holwell, so I'm not really too concerned about the submission threat. I think I'm more worried about Ravina Oliveira getting knocked out like she did against Chanel Dyer, especially moving up in weight. A little bit iffy there. Decision/knockout. If it's paying anything better than a -180, bet the prop. If it's paying anything worse, like -210 or something, I'd probably just stick with the money line bet of Juliana Miller. You can stick Juliana Miller and Carol Foro by knockout/decision on a bet, and I'm sure they get you close to money, even money, which is actually a really solid bet. Next on the prelims, you have Miles Johns against the newly put into this place Gianni Vasquez. He did fight Yavid Bashrat 5 months ago. He is the reason why Yavid Bashrat was kicked out of the UFC. He gave Yavid Bashrat an actual run for his money. I'm pretty sure he won a round as well with the boxing, and Bashrat was just not impressive enough for the UFC to sign him a second time. Now, We did lose out on Jesse Rosas, who's Raul Rosas' brother, which I'm not really that, bummed about. It is what it is. But I am a little bit more curious in this fight now because Miles Johns has not been performing that well against guys who's got really good boxing. He performs more or less lackluster when guys are able to force him against the cage and put some cage pressure on him. And Gianni Vasquez is a guy who kind of stands out in the mix, tries to piece guys up with his jab and tries to play like a traditional boxing approach. I think Miles Johns is probably going to be able to have a bit more success in this fight than he would have had against Jesse. I think he's going to be able to tag up Gianni Vasquez and kind of put on his own, grappling game. Gianni's going to miss weight probably more than likely. He's got, a day or two to even make the weight. And Miles John's going to be getting a little bit more money probably for this fight. It might be a weight bullying scenario for Gianni. It might be a situation for Miles where he trains so much for a grappler that now he's getting a boxing guy and he gets tagged up. This is one of those spots where you don't really want to bet either guy. I am going to check the odds for you guys real quick. I don't know if I'll put it up on the screen because I have been having a problem with the YouTube AI kind of just torching me for showing anything gambling related on my screen. So let's just take a peek here. They don't have odds up for this yet. So let me see if I have Bet365 here. If it's up there yet. Usually that's the first one. There you go. Miles Johns versus Jesse Rosas. Yeah, see, it's not up there yet. Miles Johns versus Gianni Vasquez odds. Let's just double check this because I just want to see what's going on here. Yeah, not yet out there because of short notice. So I'm going to go ahead and say he's probably going to be like a minus 400 Miles Johns. I would not take that if I were you. I'd stay away from this fight. If he's anything close to minus 200, yeah, maybe I'd be sitting on the side of Miles Johns, but the price is probably going to be too hefty. The experience is there for Miles Johns. Fought a lot of high-level contenders on a bit of a short streak right now. Had a really good streak earlier in his career. Just not the same guy that he was that long ago. The tide turns quite quickly in this sport, and you can see quite clearly that Miles Johns is starting to fall behind just a little bit. Hopefully he does have a little bit more momentum at 145. But I guess we'll see. I really hope here that Miles Johns is not going to fuck this up, because this is one of those situations where I really hope moving up in weight is going to change something, and I really hope he's going to be able to look better, because this is not something I like to see out of Miles Johns. He used to be a crazy finisher, and unfortunately he hasn't had something like that in a very long time, especially throughout his UFC career. So let's just hope Miles Johns gets back on track into that win column. Manel Souza versus Richie Miranda. We're going with Manel Souza by round 1 knockout. Richie Miranda got tagged up by Richie Lewis pretty early on until those crappy takedowns came in and took him down to the ground. Richie Miranda did end up getting the TKO victory in the 4th round, seeing as the kid gassed out. But Manel Souza, demon on the feet, absolute fucking piston of a right hand. And Richie Miranda, any of those shots that get him tagged in his last 3 fights, if it's Manel Souza throwing those shots, you are put out, lights out. And I think Manel Souza is a minus 250 favorite. They're getting kind of fucking gifted with the odds here. I think Manel Souza, if we can look real quick here as well, if that KO prop is sitting anywhere close to a plus money fucking bet, you put your money on that. I'm going to just double check this real quick. Manel Souza versus Richie Miranda. Over-under is sitting at 2.5 rounds. You're going under. Manel Souza plus 140 to win by knockout. You're betting Manel Souza by knockout. He will get the knockout. So will Steven Asplin probably this week. There's no fucking way I'm seeing Richie Miranda make it to a decision after watching him get tagged up by crappy guys, get hurt by crappy guys. And Manel Souza is a dude who put out Balaji Oki with a straight right in the 3rd round after he gassed. Put out Christian Perez in what was the 1st or 2nd round. No, that was the 3rd round. That's right, because Christian Perez literally won the first 2 rounds, was winning the 3rd round, and then Manel Souza was just like 30 seconds in, like, wait, this guy's gassed, and just started beating the living shit out of the kid. And it was an absolute mouth fucking dropper, because I couldn't believe what the hell was happening. Manel Souza, round 1 knockout. Richie Miranda sucks. That's all I got to say. He's got 4 inches of reach advantage. Manel Souza doesn't care about that. He's going to be wading into the fire and putting him out on his lights. Jose Montana versus Louis Sutherland next on the prelims, and we're going to probably pick Louis Sutherland. I mean, he's been under the lights before. He's seen the UFC octagon. He's fought Tai Tuivasa at least, a big banger. Fought Walter Walker, had a really short fucking trip there. Had a really short trip with Brando Pericic after Pericic just absolutely lit him up. Jose Montana, we don't really know a whole lot about this guy. Has half decent wrestling, but he's also fighting absolute fucking bums. Do I think Louis Sutherland is just going to get ragdolled into a rear naked choke? Probably not. The kid's too fucking 60. But do I think Jose Montana is a guy that's going to get beaten up by Louis Sutherland? Not particularly. Over 2.5 rounds is probably looking good for this one. You're probably not going very, very fucking, very crazy in this one. Louis Sutherland is either getting a knockout in the second round or he's probably losing this fight because there's no fucking way these guys are making it to the distance. Over 1.5 rounds, I like that. I like over 1.5, maybe over 2.5 is a little bit overzealous, but I think Jose Montana, nothing you know about this guy. There's barely any tape on this dude as well. I think he's just a bum. They're sitting in here to get Louis Sutherland back into the winning column at UFC and, hopefully get some more talent running in the pool. Next on the prelims, DR Nurgaget versus Bruno Lopez. Over 1.5 rounds seems pretty good in this fight to me. DR Nurgaget has finished every single one of his wins, whether it be a submission, whether it be a knockout, at least other than Rafael Tobias in the last fucking forever. Bruno Lopez also only gets chinned, so I'm not really sure what we're thinking about here. DR Nurgaget had a couple decisions when it came down to the Eagle FC because these guys are just so fucking gritty. But he's a nasty kickboxer. He's got a lot of really good wins, a lot of highlight reel style knockouts, and he's got a lot of just technical ability. And then I think Bruno Lopez just kind of wades into the fire a little too much, gets that chin down when he gets a little wild. As soon as he feels like he has a guy hurt even a little bit, he just goes wild. And DR Nurgaget is just going to sit there with a left high kick, put it right through the fucking guard, and put him out on his back. And I think Bruno Lopez knows that. I think he's going to fight scared. I think DR Nurgaget is going to get him anyway, seeing as he's probably going to be backing up the whole fight. Bruno Lopez is not making it out of this fight alive. This fight is not going over 2.5 rounds. This fight is ending inside distance, and you're going to see Bruno Lopez sitting on the ground knowing that he's getting fucking cut from the UFC. The over-under on this fight's 1.5 rounds. I wouldn't even touch it. I would touch DR Nurgaget to win by knockout, and that is sitting at a plus 125 on DraftKings. And if you're looking at Bet365, it's sitting at a plus 130. I think DR Nurgaget, he's got the ability, he's got the capability, he's got the kickboxing, he's got the fucking manpower to put down Bruno Lopez, and I think he will. That's a fantastic fight. Nurgaget gets it done. Next, the highlighted prelim of the evening, and it is for good measure. Stephen Concrete Asplin versus Guilherme Pat. And we're going with Stephen Asplin to get it done by the vicious concrete knockout. Probably going to be just volume punches to the head. Guilherme is going to just absolutely eat some punishment. This guy's going to be busted up. He's going to be cut open like Sean Sharaf was. And Stephen Asplin is not going to stop. He's going to keep pushing forward. He's going to push forward for everything that he believes in. And he's going to come out on top on Saturday night. There is no way that I believe that Guilherme Pat, the guy who lost a majority decision to Thomas Peterson, is going to win this fight against Stephen Asplin. A guy who's been working his entire life to get to a point in his career where he can say he's proud of himself, a point in his career where he can say he's got eyes on him, and a point in his career where he can say that he did it all. And guess what? He's fucking here. He's trying to make it to the top 10, the top 15, whatever he needs to get that number there. I think Guilherme Pat is a fantastic start. I think it's going to be an easy knockout. I think this is a perfect fucking fight for him to just get launched into some hype and some momentum. And I think he's just going to have a fantastic fucking time here because Pat fucking sucks. He's got no fucking stand-up ability after the first round. He's got no capability to take dudes down. And he looks like absolute shit. Thomas Peterson was a guy who just has no business even fucking being in that octagon half the time. And yet he couldn't even fucking do anything about it. It's actually ridiculous if you really think about it. But anyway, Stephen Asplin, knockout, gonna get it done. Start off the main card of the evening. This one's a little bit tougher than a lot of people are putting it out to be. Ty Thriller Miller versus Billy Ray Goff. Now, Billy Ray Goff is an incredible striker. He's got a lot of high-level boxing experience, and he's got a lot of good movement when you watch him fight. This kid, usually when he gets hit pretty hard, he comes back even fucking worse. He's got a lot of fucking, like, controlled anger. Every single time he gets cracked in fights, he usually comes back and knocks the dude out, unless they instantly finish him. So that's been a consistent thing throughout his entire career. I couldn't really get it done with Trey Waters, seeing as, Waters is so fucking large. You can't really get it in on the inside. Trey Waters was kind of punching down on him and just not allowing him to get inside. If you don't have takedowns and you don't have any threatening stuff against the cage, there's not really anything you can do. You just got to sit there and hopefully you can catch him with something up top. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get it done. Did fight Ramiz Brahima, looking really solid in that fight up until Ramiz just guillotined him and put him out to sleep. Ty Miller had a half-decent fight against Jimmy Drago, which is kind of wild. I mean, 30-27, sure, but couldn't finish him. Adam Fugit took until the end of the first round to finish him, even though Fugit fucking sucks. And now you're getting Billy Ray Goff, which I guess is kind of a layup fight if you really think about it. If you really think of the talent potential, if you really think of the complete mixed martial arts capabilities versus, Goff versus Miller. Yeah, you're going to obviously pick fucking Ty Miller here, but again, the more dangerous side, in my opinion, comes from the side of Billy Ray Goff. The guy who knows that he's probably fighting for his career at this point is Billy Ray Goff, and the guy who has real, solid, one-punch knockout power, as far as what I've seen, is Billy Ray Goff. I think he's got the more capability to get a fucking crazy knockout, and I think he truly has it against Ty Miller here. I think it's going to be over or under probably 2.5 rounds. I think you're probably going to be looking at the under. I think Billy Ray Goff and Ty Miller are going to be throwing some absolute heat. And if Billy Ray Goff is anything even close to like a plus 300, you're probably going to want to put some money on him. It's just value. There's just no way that you're underperforming the fact that, I get Kinoshita is bad, but the nasty fucking shot to the solar plexus, that could happen to anybody. Shimon Smotriki, whatever the fuck his name is, that was a nasty fucking fight 4 years ago. Trey Waters, I know that was a tough fight. Ramiz Brahima gets guillotined. He's got a year off, and now he's back, but I do think Billy Ray Goff's got a lot of potential here. Even plus 3.5 is not a bad bet. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if Ty's going to get him, he's going to get him. And if Billy Ray's going to win, he probably needs to knock him out. So I'm going to just say under 2.5 rounds, probably safe bet, probably not going distance. There's just no way. Ty Miller against Jimmy Drago, I get it, but Billy literally knows he needs a knockout or something. He's going to go wild no matter what. He has to. He has to have something wild. He has to have something impressive. So we're just going to go to the fact that he's got his job on his line. Ty Miller is a kid who can get hit, and Billy Ray Goff, he can fucking hit. And Billy Ray Goff does get hit as well, by the way. That is, again, I already said that, but hopefully he just doesn't get put out. Next on the main card, Amanda Lemos. Also, for that fight, I guess I didn't pick a money line pick, but we're probably, for Tapology reasons, you'd pick Ty Miller. For large parlay reasons, you'd probably pick Ty Miller. For complete finishing potential, you'd probably pick Ty Miller. If you're looking at the entire fight as a full, not to go distance. Ty Miller's probably, 80-20 on this fight, but Billy Ray Goff is not out of it. He's just purely valued for the betting side. Amanda Lemos versus Alexia Thanera. All I have to say is that Amanda Lemos got standing arm triangled by Jessica Andrade. And if you're that fucking dog shit at 36? What was it, 36, 35 when she fought her? Amazing, 35. You're 35 years old and you don't know how to defend a standing arm triangle? Yeah, Alexia Thanera by submission, round 2. It's going to be easy. Alexia Thanera is going to burst into the top 10 of the division. That's all I had to say. Fuck Amanda Lemos. There's no way that she gets it done. Next on the main card. Again, maybe we could talk about one thing Amanda Lemos was good at, and that's punching people. Is she going to be able to even punch Alexia Thanera? Who fucking knows? Because she looks absolutely horrendous the last couple of fights. Next on the main card, Darren the Damage Elkins in his retirement fight versus Yadir, fucking starting like a goddamn shitty engine. Yadir Del Valle, the Cuban Problem. We're going with Del Valle to win probably via submission. I don't think he wants to hurt Darren, and Darren looked like absolute ass against Julian Erosa. And if Erosa's putting you out quick in the first round, I'm fucking stressed out for this fight because Yadir Del Valle's got crazy power. He's got really good capabilities on the feet, and I think he's going to hurt Darren Elkins bad. And I think he's just going to submit him because he doesn't want to hurt him anymore. Darren the Damage Elkins getting either ground and pounded out or submitted in the first round is probably how this fight goes. Darren will retire after this fight. There is no way he comes back into the mixed martial arts community because there's just really, again, damage. He's taken too much damage. That's going to be one of the guys that you see with CTE problems massively in about 10 years. He's 42 years old already, fighting a 30-year-old prospect who's a minus 800. Get the fuck out of here. And Yater hasn't had a fight since that shitty Jordan Levitt fight, which was absolutely fucking ass. It looked like Del Valle was taking that entire fight off. I don't know what the hell happened, but that looked absolutely awful. Next, the co-main event of the evening. This one's actually a hard one to pick, but we're going to go with the boy Billy Quarantillo versus Diego Ferreira. We're going with Billy Q to get it done via knockout. I think Diego Ferreira is just a little bit slow at this point. He fought Alexander Hernandez. He looked like fucking shit. He is 41 years of age, and he looked really slow. A little bit younger, Diego Ferreira would have been a lot faster, and he would have tagged Alexander Hernandez pretty bad in that fight. And I think Billy Quarantillo, being 37 years of age, already fighting Cub Swanson and taking a year and a half off like he really needed to. Diego Ferreira coming back only 10 months after getting absolutely starched by Alexander Hernandez. I think Billy Quarantillo's got a little bit more of a boxing capability here against him. I think he's going to be able to just beat the shit out of Diego Ferreira against the cage. And I think when it really comes down to it, the speed is just going to be everything here. The power is not going to be a huge factor when Billy Quarantillo can still take punishment with his cardio. Cub Swanson did knock him out in the third round, but Cub Swanson was putting on an absolute fucking masterclass in that fight. Yeah, he thought it was his retirement fight as well, and yet he still hit him with some nasty Cub Swanson prime slip 1-2s down the middle, and that's what dropped Billy Quarantillo in the third round and put him out for good. Diego Ferreira, we're just going to bank on the fact that he's going to be a little bit slower, based on the fact that the value is going to be sitting all over Billy Q here. The books are saying Billy, basically, because whenever you see a book sit a 40-year-old contender on the fucking favorite side, yeah, you're going to start questioning a lot of things in your life. And the reason for that is just because of the power. You've seen Diego Ferreira torch fucking, who was it? He torched Michael Johnson with that crazy overhand right in the second round, even though he was losing that fight, by the way. And Mateuz Rebecki, he got him in the third round with 9 seconds left. Sure, I mean, you were about to lose that fight anyway. And reminder, got knocked out by Gregor Gillespie, got knocked out by fucking Mateus Gamrot, got knocked out by Alexander Hernandez, and now he's fighting Billy Quarantillo, who's got a lot of knockouts throughout his entire career, always been a volume puncher, always been a guy who's just put it on people. Diego Ferreira's getting knocked out against the cage. There's just no fucking way. I think he's just a little bit in over his head for this fight, a little bit too old to be taking a fight. At 41 and a half, man, to be taking a fight against Billy Quarantillo. I mean, I know Billy looked like kind of ass against Cub Swanson, but, bro, Billy's not that bad. There's just no way. And I don't know, is Billy going up? Billy's going up to 155. Ooh, that makes it a little bit more questionable, I guess. He's going to be a little bit heavier. But I guess he's doing that for his career. And when guys usually go up, they usually look a little bit better. Let's just hope Billy Q keeps on the speed and keeps on the volume. And, I mean, again, this will be his first fight. Okay, maybe lay off the fucking confidency there. But, again, I still think Billy Q wins. Just maybe we'll look a little bit slower, and now we're not 100% sure he's going to out-fucking pace Diego Ferreira. But still, Billy Q, solid pick, solid value pick for sure, sitting at a plus 145 live on Bet365. Now, we are going to take a look at the main event of the evening as well. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. I will also see you live with every single bet sitting right below me for the entire card, starting at 5 p.m. on Saturday. It will definitely be a good one. You'll definitely want to be there, seeing as we've, like I said, 75-80% in the last 3 weeks been absolutely demolishing the card itself. Mateuz Gamrot versus Quillian Salkilld for the main event of the evening. This is one I've been back and forth on the entire week. Quillian Salkilld, 4.5 inches of reach. He definitely has the advantage in the striking against Mateuz Gamrot, a guy who just kind of uses striking as a means to an end, chooses to try and take guys down completely instead of choosing to strike with them, which is completely understandable, seeing as he has such a dominating wrestling game. Quillian Salkilld, we did see him on the ground once or twice in the last, 4 fights. He was able to get up, but he did not look the most high level at getting up out of those bad wrestling scrambles. This could be one of those fights where you see an absolute fraud check out of Quillian Salkilld here against Mateuz Gamrot. In my opinion, it probably goes one of two ways. Either Quillian Salkilld is able to out-wrestle him and get through to round 3, where he starts piecing up Mateuz Gamrot, seeing as the chain wrestling is going to come a lot slower. Quillian Salkilld has not seemed to have an issue with his gas tank yet in the UFC. He has seemed to look quite good. He has seemed to have quite a good pace. And he's had 3 finishes in a row So I'm just hoping he doesn't get too bloodthirsty and looking for a crazy finish against Mateuz Gamrot, a guy who is game no matter what happens on the books. Now, he did have a crazy fight against Charles Oliveira. He had a crazy fight against Dan Hooker, which honestly could have went either way. But I do think here for Mateuz Gamrot, this is probably a little bit out of his range. He has fought, like the guys that he's losing to, Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, when he's a little bit better. Yeah, okay, those are guys that can shuck takedowns off and look a little solid on the feet. Sure. Dan Hooker himself, a nasty boxer, nasty puncher. He's just a pure striker. Sure. Esteban Ribovic's finish, okay. Ludovic Klein win, ball sack, really. Rafael Dos Anjos, who's 40 years old, yeah, kind of shitty win. Rafael Fiziev, leg injury, popped his knee out. Jalen Turner, split decision, which honestly Turner should have won that fight. A lot of questionable fights, honestly. A lot of questionable wins. And I think here, we're going to pick Quillian Salkilld. I think Quillian Salkilld, inside distance, if it's paying better than what, plus 300, you definitely want to pick that. I think he's just got a little bit more capability. I think he's just a little bit younger, a little bit hungrier. I know Mateuz Gamrot has fought probably the highest level of competition out of the 155s that haven't made it through to the top 5, but I think Quillian Salkilld here, really solid knockout against Beneil Dariush, really solid win over Jamie Malarkey, really solid win against Nazar Hakparas. Yes, these are absolute bottom tier fucking dwellers. This is not very high level wins, but this is probably the same quality of wins that Mateuz Gamrot is having now in his career. So this is solid matchup for these two guys. Just not really 100% sure on what's going to happen here, but I do think in more scenarios, Quillian Salkilld ends up TKOing Mateuz Gamrot in the 4th or 5th round, because Gamrot's not going to be able to chain wrestle forever. This is a 5-round fight, and you are fighting a guy who's really down to fight 5 rounds. He looks really game no matter what. He's got a good corner, and he's coming from a really solid camp. I'm just going to go with Quillian Salkilld. I think he's got a little bit better of a base, and I think he's going to get it done on Saturday night. That's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I will see you guys all for the live on Saturday. I'll see you guys all maybe for the betting talk tomorrow if I decide to do it. Maybe we'll break down the bets a little bit further. Maybe get you guys some parlays. Maybe get you guys some locks for the week. I would say my best bet for the week is Steven Asplin to win against Guilherme Pat. I would also say another best bet for the week is Manel Souza by knockout. I would also say another best bet for the week is Yair Lavallee by finish. I don't know how this kid's not going to get a finish. It should be quite easy against Darren Elkins. Alexia Thayer is another solid one in there. Billy Ray Goff, Ty Miller not to go distance. Billy Q and Diego Ferreira probably not going distance there either. You can definitely bet those by themselves. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys all later. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Peace.